I knew something was off the first time she flat out ignored Ryan's drawing. It was a Saturday morning, a few weeks after Nancy moved in. Ryan had sketched this detailed little model of our backyard, the garden, the birdhouse, even Nancy's rocking chair. He held it up to her, proud. She didn't even look, just waved her hand and said, "Set the table, honey. We're having eggs. My name's Dan. I'm 41 years old. I live in Spokane, Washington, with my wife Lori and our son Ryan. He's 13 now, quiet, kind, smart as hell. 2 years ago, Nancy, Lori's mom, called saying she'd hit some rough times. Money tight, lease ending, no real plan. Lori wanted to help. She's soft-hearted like that. So we moved some things around, cleared out the office, and Nancy moved in. At first I didn't think much of it. Nancy's not warm, but she was cordial, polite. She offered to chip in around the house. Mostly she just sat and watched her shows. Then I started noticing small stuff. She'd gush about Lori's sister's kids, Logan and Lily, every time they came up. Lily won a poetry contest. Logan scored 2 goals at soccer. Meanwhile, Ryan would come home with an A on his science project, and she'd just nod, maybe say, "Oh, that's nice," before flipping back to her crossword. It wasn't in your face, but it was there. Lori told me I was imagining it. "She's old, she's tired," she said. "She doesn't mean anything by it." But Ryan noticed too. He didn't complain, he never really does. But his eyes would flick to me when Nancy talked over him. Or when she skipped him in the goodnight hugs and went straight to telling Logan how proud she was of his latest soccer tryouts. Quick note before we go on. Before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. I let it go for a while. Told myself I was being too sensitive, that it'd pass. But it didn't pass. One afternoon, I watched Ryan take a picture of this weird shadow cast on our fence. He showed Nancy, explaining how he caught the light just right. She stared for 2 seconds and said, "You ever think about doing something more normal, like baseball?" I stepped into the kitchen and gripped the counter, hard. That's when it started to eat at me. Not just for me, but for him. This wasn't a phase. It was something else. Lori still said it was unintentional. I wasn't so sure anymore. And Ryan, he started keeping more to himself. It started slow, comments here and there. Nancy would fold a towel and say, "Some people just toss laundry around like animals," right after Ryan left the room. Or if I forgot to wipe the counter, she'd sigh real loud, grab a rag, and mutter, "I guess I'll do it." She made this big show of being helpful, but every favor came with a jab. Ryan kept to himself mostly. He was 13, but had this old soul thing about him. Always building things, tiny cities out of cardboard, paper bridges, little clay sculptures. I'd come home and find him sketching the skyline through his window, or out in the yard trying to photograph a bird mid-flight. Nancy never got it. One afternoon, Ryan printed out a black and white shot he took of Lori laughing at the sink. Natural, beautiful, perfectly timed. He taped it to the fridge. Nancy looked at it, then looked at him and said, "You're wasting ink. Why not draw like normal kids?" He didn't answer, just peeled it off the fridge and walked out. A couple days later, Lori's sister came by with the twins. Nancy lit up like a damn Christmas tree. She had snacks laid out, baked cookies, fruit trays, even cut up little sandwiches. Told them stories from when their mama was young, pulled out old photo albums, bragged about Logan's soccer game, and Lily's gift for writing. Ryan sat in the corner, headphones on, sketching out a new bridge design. Nancy never even glanced at him. We hosted all the family dinners, partly because we had the space, mostly because Nancy insisted. She'd set the table, acted like queen of the castle. Every meal she'd steer conversation straight toward the twins. One night, Ryan tried to chime in. He'd just finished this mini architectural model for school, used balsa wood and glue. Thing looked like a damn museum piece. He said, "I brought it home today if anyone wants to see." Nancy cut him off. "That's nice, sweetie. Lily, didn't you say you won second place in that essay contest?" Lily smiled and nodded. Lori clapped. Ryan stared at his plate and didn't say another word. After they left, I found him sitting on the basement steps, camera on his lap. I sat down next to him. "You okay?" He shrugged. "Yeah, I'm just tired." But he wasn't tired. He was folding into himself. Lori still brushed it off. "She's old-fashioned," she said. "She doesn't mean to hurt him." "She never says a damn word to him unless she's criticizing something," I said. "She treats the twins like royalty and pretends he's not in the room." Lori didn't argue, but she didn't agree either. She just rubbed her face and went upstairs. So, I started keeping track, dates, comments, the way Nancy's eyes glazed over whenever Ryan talked about anything he loved. I wrote down what she said, how often she skipped over him, how many times she mentioned Logan's goals or Lily's grades in a single meal. I wasn't imagining it. One night, I caught Nancy tossing out one of Ryan's clay models, said it was messy and taking up space on the windowsill. It had his name carved in the bottom. That's when I told Lori flat out, she's not just clueless, she's choosing to act this way. Lori crossed her arms. What do you want me to do, Dan? She lives here. She's my mom. She doesn't get to make this house small for our son. Lori didn't have a response for that. Lori didn't say much after that night, but a week later, Nancy floated the idea. I was thinking, she said over dinner, instead of doing two separate things this year, why not one joint party for the kids, Ryan and the twins? Saves time, money, effort. Lori looked at me. I looked at Ryan. He shrugged. Sure, that's fine. It made sense logistically. The twins were turning 14 a few days before Ryan's birthday. Their mom didn't have room to host, so, of course, it fell on us. Lori and I planned it. I worked 2 Saturdays in a row to save up. Ryan had been eyeing this used lens at the camera shop downtown. I wanted to surprise him with it. Nancy said she'd take care of a surprise gift. That was how she phrased it, like we were lucky to have her involved. A couple of nights before the party, we were all eating spaghetti around the table. Ryan twirled his fork a bit before finally speaking. If anyone's asking, I could use a new phone, he said, not even looking up. Mine glitches all the time. And maybe some photography stuff. I know that's not cheap, but just ideas. Nancy didn't even blink, rolled her eyes. A new phone, she scoffed. What's wrong with a good book? You know, kids used to use their eyes and imagination before screens ruined everything. Ryan went quiet. Lori didn't say anything. I chewed slower, trying not to snap. Then Nancy launched into her usual twin report. Oh, did I tell you Logan got scouted for club soccer? And Lily, sweet girl. She's editing the school paper now. Such go-getters, both of them. Ryan stood up and started clearing his plate. Leave it, I said. I got it, he mumbled. He didn't come back to the table after that. Later that night, I walked into his room. He had his headphones on, editing a photo. I sat down on the edge of his bed. You're not invisible, bud. He glanced at me. I know, but he didn't. Not really. The day of the party, we had everything set up. Banners, food, cake, a decent turnout. Lori's family showed, plus some school friends of the kids. Ryan helped set up the tables, hung the decorations, even tested the camera I'd just given him, smiling for the first time in days. Nancy showed up late, wearing her best floral blouse like she was the damn host. She didn't help with a single thing, but made sure to greet every guest like it was her party. Make room. I've got a surprise for the birthday trio, she said, with a big grin once the cake was done. She reached into a gift bag and pulled out 2 slim boxes, handed them right to the twins. Brand new iPhones, she said, loud enough for everyone to hear. Top of the line, figured my special grandbabies deserved something nice. The twins screamed, hugged her. Everyone clapped. Ryan was sitting on the couch next to the drink table, just watched. Then Nancy turned to him and said, with a smug little shrug, I didn't get you anything. You're not really my grandson. Silence, no gasps, no one moved, just dead air. Ryan blinked once, stood up slowly, set his soda down, then walked out the back door without a word. Lori's mouth was hanging open. I stood up and looked at Nancy. What the hell is wrong with you? She sipped her iced tea and smiled. What? I'm just being honest. Nancy sipped her tea like she hadn't just dropped a bomb. The twins were still clutching their new phones, gushing over features, showing off the screens. Some of the other kids clapped again, not even catching what just happened. But the adults? Everyone over 30 just went silent. Cold, stiff silence. Lori stared at Nancy, mouth half open. Her sister looked like she wanted to disappear. I stood frozen next to the fridge, fists clenched. Ryan was already gone, out the back door and around the side of the house. I heard it slam. No one said a damn thing. For a good 15 seconds, it was just the twins shouting about group chats and cameras while every adult in the room tried to figure out what to do next. Nancy finally broke the silence. Oh, don't get dramatic. He doesn't even like me. Why waste a gift? Lori snapped her head toward her. Are you serious right now? Nancy gave a little shrug. I'm not going to pretend. He's never treated me like family. He's 13, Lori's voice cracked. He's a kid. Nancy's tone didn't budge. So, kids know who their people are, and he's made it clear I'm not one of his. I stepped in front of her. Say one more word like that, and I swear... She cut me off with this smug little smirk. Oh, please, Dan. Don't act like you've liked me being here either. She wasn't wrong, but right then that didn't matter. Lori turned to the guests. We're done here. Thank you all for coming, but the party's over. Her sister tried to say something, but Lori waved it off and headed toward the backyard. I grabbed Nancy's empty tea glass and dumped it in the sink, hard. The rest of the guests packed up in silence. The twins were confused, still riding their sugar high and phone excitement. One of them asked, Is Ryan mad? I didn't answer. 10 minutes later, the house was half empty. Lori came back inside alone. He won't talk, she said. He's sitting behind the garage, just staring. I nodded. Let him sit. I can't believe she did that. She's been doing it for months. This was just the first time she said it out loud. Lori didn't argue. Her eyes were glassy. She sank into a chair at the kitchen table and put her face in her hands. Nancy walked in like nothing happened. Wasn't that nice? Good turnout. The twins really loved the phones. Lori looked up. What is wrong with you? Nancy rolled her eyes. I'm just being real. He's not my blood, and I don't have to fake love for someone who's never tried with me. He tried. You ignored him. Nancy raised an eyebrow. You're going to take his side now, over your own mother? Lori stood up slowly. Right now? Yeah, I am. Nancy scoffed and walked off toward the guest room. I followed. She had the nerve to hum as she passed the living room. Don't unpack too deep, I said. She paused. Excuse me? You heard me. That stunt just ended your stay here. Oh, please. You're overreacting. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. I walked outside, saw Ryan still sitting on the curb by the fence, camera in his lap, eyes fixed on the grass. I sat down next to him. Didn't want to ruin the party, he said quietly. You didn't. He kept staring ahead. It's okay. I knew she didn't like me. My chest hurt hearing that. It's not okay, and it won't happen again. He looked at me then, eyes red, jaw clenched, like he was trying not to cry. But he didn't cry, just nodded once. We sat there until the last of the cars pulled away. We sat out there until the sun dipped low, bugs started buzzing, porch lights flicked on across the street. I didn't say much, neither did Ryan. You okay? I asked finally. He nodded, barely, but didn't say a word. I didn't push. When we got back inside, Nancy was in the kitchen like nothing happened, digging through the fridge like she was looking for leftovers. Lori went straight in. What the hell is wrong with you? Her voice cracked. Nancy turned around like she was bored. I'm not going to apologize for telling the truth. You humiliated our son, I said. Nancy scoffed. He's not my grandson. He's not blood. What's everyone so upset about? Lori choked back a sound, half laugh, half sob. You really think that excuses it? You act like he's this perfect child, Nancy snapped. He barely talks to me. He never includes me in anything. He's 13, and you treat him like a stray dog. I stepped between them before Lori lost it. My hands were shaking. Get out! Nancy didn't flinch. Oh, please! I'm not asking, I said. You need to start packing. You can't be serious. Lori was crying now. I'd never seen her cry like that, not even when her dad died. You're not welcome here anymore, Mom. Nancy turned to her like Lori had slapped her. You'd throw me out for that boy? He's my son, Lori said. Our son. You crossed a line. Nancy grabbed her purse and stormed off down the hall. Door slammed. Ryan didn't come out of his room that night. The house felt hollow, like something had snapped and we were just waiting for the pieces to fall. Next morning, Ryan skipped breakfast, didn't touch his eggs, didn't say goodbye on his way out to school. Same thing the next day. Then the school called. Ryan hadn't turned in a single assignment that week. His teachers were worried, said he barely looked up in class, kept his hoodie up, didn't speak unless called on. I hung up the phone and stood in the kitchen, staring at the floor. That was it. I walked into the bedroom where Lori was folding laundry. She looked up, eyes tired. She goes, I said, tonight. Lori didn't argue, just nodded once, real slow. She's still your mom, I added. I know that. She's not my home, she said. That night, we didn't eat dinner. Lori sat with Ryan, tried to talk to him. He nodded along but barely spoke. I sat outside on the steps, watching cars roll by, fists clenched the whole time. Nancy didn't come out of her room until almost 10. She walked into the kitchen like she expected us to apologize. She didn't get one. Saturday morning, she strolled into the kitchen like she hadn't burned the house down. "What's the breakfast plan?" Nancy asked, digging around in the drawer like she was looking for her favorite mug. I didn't answer right away, just set my coffee down and looked at her. "We need to talk." She sighed loud, like I'd just ruined her weekend. "Still on that? Dan, it's been a week." "I don't care if it's been a year. What you said to Ryan was cruel." She crossed her arms. "I was being honest." "No, you were being hateful, and I'm done pretending it's okay." "You know what's funny?" she snapped. "I took you in when you were jobless. Remember that? You used to call me Ma. Now I'm the villain." "That was 15 years ago. And this is our house now, our family, and you don't get to tear it apart." She glared at me. "Lori's turned you against me." I leaned on the counter. "Lori didn't say a word to convince me. You did it all yourself." "You're both ungrateful," she hissed. "After everything I've done," I held up a hand. "You have 24 hours to pack. Thomas will pick you up tomorrow." She laughed. "Oh, that's rich. You think you're just going to kick me out like some stray cat?" "Not thinking, doing. You can't do this to me." "Already did." She stormed off, muttering under her breath. I didn't follow. 5 minutes later, she was on the phone, crying to Thomas like she was the damn victim. "She's kicking me out, Tommy, after everything I gave up for her." Her voice got shrill. "And Dan just stands there like I'm trash." I heard her pause, then lower her voice. "Please come get me. I can't stay here another night." An hour later, Thomas called me directly. "I'll come get her," he said. "I'll make room. You don't owe me an explanation." "Appreciate it." "She's hard to live with," he added, voice lower. "We all know." The rest of the day was dead quiet. Nancy didn't come out of her room. Lori and I cleaned the kitchen, boxed up some of her stuff, just what was in shared spaces. Ryan stayed in his room with the door shut. He didn't ask what was happening. Next morning, Thomas pulled into the driveway in his SUV. Nancy came out dragging 2 suitcases, sunglasses on, lips tight. She didn't speak, didn't look at Ryan, didn't hug Lori, just said, "I see how it is," and walked out the door. Ryan was in the hallway, watching from the shadows. I looked at him. "You want to say goodbye?" He shook his head once. "No." Nancy didn't turn around, didn't ask for a hug, didn't leave a note. I didn't stop her. We shut the door, and for the first time in 2 years, the house felt still. Not tense, not heavy, just still. That night, we made tacos. Nothing fancy, just ground beef, shredded cheese, lettuce, salsa from a jar. Ryan sat at the table without having to be called twice. He even cracked a smile when Lori made a joke about his lettuce folding technique. She laughed, actually laughed. I hadn't heard her do that in weeks. Nobody brought up Nancy. Nobody had to. The next morning, I told Ryan to get in the truck. He looked at me sideways. "For what?" "You'll see." We drove to the camera shop on 2nd, the place with the dusty window and the guy who's been there since the 80s. I walked in, pointed to the lens he'd circled in that catalog a month ago, and said, "We'll take it." Ryan blinked. "Are you serious?" "Dead serious." "You don't have to." "I know." He didn't say anything after that. Just held the box like it was made of glass the whole ride home. That weekend, we cleaned out a corner of the hallway and hung a corkboard. Lori called it the gallery. We pinned up his best prints, some from his old phone, a few taken with the new lens, one of a storm rolling over the hills that made me stop and stare. Ryan started eating dinner with us again, started sitting with us in the evenings instead of hiding in his room. He joined the school's photography club a week later. Lori found the flyer, signed the form without asking. "He can quit if he hates it," she said, "but I think he won't." She was right. He came home from the first meeting buzzing. "They're planning a field shoot," he said. "Old train yard. I signed up." I nodded. "Good, you should go." Nancy still called Lori now and then, mostly guilt trips. I could hear the tone through the phone, even without hearing the words. Lori kept the calls short. I didn't speak to her, Had nothing to say. Ryan never asked about her, not once. I think he understood. Maybe not all of it, but enough. One night after dinner, I was washing dishes, and he walked up behind me, just said, "Thanks for having my back, Dad." I didn't turn around, just nodded. Always. That was all I needed. About 6 months later, Ryan's photo got picked for the regional youth art show. It was the one he took right after a storm, just rain pooling on the hood of an old red pickup, soft light catching every droplet. Moody, quiet, totally him. We drove to the gallery that Saturday. Lori and I dressed nice. Ryan wearing a button-up shirt he kept tugging at, like it was trying to strangle him. He had that nervous half-smile on his face the whole way in. Not scared, just unsure. But proud, you could tell. We walked through rows of paintings and sketches until we found his photo mounted on the far wall under a spotlight. "Damn," I said. "They gave you a prime spot." Ryan cracked a grin. "It's probably alphabetical." Lori laughed and elbowed him. "Let us believe it's the best one." A few minutes later, his cousins showed up, Logan and Lily. No parents, just the two of them, dressed sharp, carrying a little bouquet of white daisies. "Hey," Lily said, offering the flowers. "Congrats! Your photo's amazing." Ryan blinked. "Thanks." Logan looked around. "We had to come. It's cool seeing your stuff like this." They stood with him while a small crowd trickled past. A kid in braces asked him about shutter speed. Ryan lit up, explaining how he caught the light after the rain. His hands moved as he talked, eyes bright. I hadn't seen him like that in months. Nancy didn't show. I didn't expect her to. Honestly, I was glad. That space wasn't hers anymore. I stepped back and looked at him, my kid, standing tall beside something he built from scratch, from the eye only he sees the world through. Lori slipped her hand into mine. She didn't say anything, just nodded. We did the right thing. Later that night, we got burgers on the way home. Ryan sat in the back seat, still holding the bouquet Lily gave him. Out of nowhere, he said, "I don't think I need her to like me anymore." I looked at him through the mirror. "You sure?" He nodded. "I've got enough." And he does. We're not a perfect family. We still snap at each other, still forget stuff, still get it wrong sometimes. But we're solid now. Solid enough that my son knows he matters. Every day, no conditions.